Alright, what's going on guys? It's Monster. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys a tutorial in ComfyUI on how to generate anime images with an IllustriousXL checkpoint. Especially of the anime characters Acheron from Honkai Star Rail and Acheron and Black Swan from Honkai Star Rail. And I got two separate workflows for this. In this one file right here, the one below is the one only featuring one character. You can probably use any character you want. I just tested it and used it with the Acheron Loras I found, which are also going to be linked down in the description below. And up here in this workflow, the upper one, that's the one for two characters in one image, which is pretty complicated. I think you're going to need around at least, 8 gigabytes of GPU VRAM. I guess let's get right started, right? So basically, I'm just going to start down here, right? I'm using the WAI-illustrious-SDXL checkpoint 14, version 14. I found that on CivitAI. I'm also going to link that down in the description below. I'm just going to go over the workflow with you guys real quick, and it should be pretty simple. Anyway, alright, so we got that. We got the Laura. We got a couple of Loras here. One's for the Honkai Acheron character, right? So this is the one where you want to put whatever character you actually are going to use. I'm also going to link this down in the description. And I actually noticed that I was an idiot because I got the Pony XL one and not the Illustrious Laura, but it works regardless. I like it, and I guess you could choose the Illustrious one, actually, the real fitting Laura for the checkpoint, but whatever. This also works. And then this is pretty important. We got the Smooth Booster Laura, which I'm also going to link. I'm going to link all of these. And we have the Aura Fantasy, but only for just a little bit because I don't like what it does, at least too much with the image. This one should be turned off. We don't need this one. This is just a mistake. And then right here we have our seed. This is for the seed of the image. I just like having it in a special box here. I'm going to go deeper into that in a second. And here I have the CFG. I also like having this as a special node, separate node, because it's easier to control and see, in my opinion at least. You could also just delete this, but whatever. Alright, so these are our positive and negative prompts, right? Down here is just a normal clip text encode prompt. This is the negative one, where everything is that we don't want. Yeah, I don't really have to say much about that. Up here we got the positive one. Now, right now, this could also just be a normal clip text encode, but this is a wildcard encode, which means you could technically have something like these little curvy brackets and put something in there like standing, and then this separating symbol here, I forgot what it's called, and then something like sitting, for example, and then every time you generate a new image, this wildcard encode node will choose for you which one it's going to be, right? So half of the time it's going to be standing, the other half of the time it's going to be sitting. So that's pretty cool if you want to get different images every time and just randomize it a bit, like if you're going to go AFK, I guess, for 10 minutes, and you can just like run 20 separate processes at the same time, and it's always going to be different. But yeah, right now, just ignore this, right? But you're going to need the impact pack, though. You're going to have to get that extension right here, right? So don't forget about that. You might already have it anyway. Alright, so now in this lower workflow, I've done it so that every time you generate an image, it's going to be one that's in portrait, I guess, aspect ratio or dimensions, right? So this is like a phone format, and parallel, there's going to be one in landscape, right? This is better for like desktop, backgrounds, stuff like that. I like it more, but yeah, because it works pretty well, so that's why I've done both. Sorry, so here we just got an empty latent image. Obviously, KSampler should know about this. 30 steps. Yeah, by the way, we use what I found the best working was Euler, Ancestral, and Keras. And as I already said before, CFG 2.5. I like the look that it gives. Same down here, except dimensions are switched, right? Alright, preview image, save image, should be clear, right? This just saves the image. Now, then we're going to go upscale it by 1.5, the image, because that makes it more enhanced and better. Yeah, same here, denoise 0.5, that's pretty important, don't forget that. Again, Euler, Ancestral, and Keras. CFG 2.5 steps 25. Same down here. Oh yeah, the upscale method is nearest exact. I found it to be the best. Now, why 1.5? I tried going to 2, for example, scale by 2, but the image just gets kind of corrupted then. I don't know what's going on there, so this is fine. And right, let's move on to the next part. So then we have 2 Face-Detailer nodes. These just improve some special parts of the image, because oftentimes the face just takes up a small portion pixel wise of the whole image, and that's why sometimes you get like wrong hands or mushed faces. This time we got pretty lucky, but like you couldn't really tell what this is, for example. So that's why we upscale it, and then we got this Face-Detailer. Now, what does this do? You don't really have to know much about this. All of these variables, they don't really matter. But I'm going to explain to you, alright? So this first one is for the face. It's called Face-Detailer. Sorry, guys. So this just makes the face better. I mean, it was already pretty good, but yeah, it just makes it more detailed. As you can see right here, the eyes, they're kind of mushed and not that good. They're pixelated, obviously, right? This is way better. And the second node here, the second Face-Detailer, is for the hands and fingers. Now this glove here didn't really work because the Face-Detailer didn't actually see it as a hand, but it looks alright. And the second one here, this one actually it recognized as a hand, so, and I said, for example, in the prompt to add blue fingernails. So as you can see, that worked. We got 4 normal fingers, a thumb, so 5, and blue fingernails, and it looks pretty good. So that's why we have this. Yep, that's pretty good. Other than that, you guys can see the Face-Detailer. The first one has denoise 0.45. That just changes how much of the old image actually stays the same and how much actually changes. If you want to, you don't want to do too much, because then weird stuff may happen, and if you do too little, then it's not actually going to fix it. So yeah, these work pretty well. This is 0.45 for the face and 0.55 for the hands. Now, I guess I can explain a little bit more if you guys want to tweak some stuff. So the guide size and the max size, you don't really touch that. That should be fine. That's just for the actual generated part. So in this case, for example, this would be like a box of the face, and yeah, that should be fine. The seed just at 0, doesn't matter. Steps 25, that's also alright. But what you guys want to be careful of is the Bbox threshold, right? So this changes how much of the image actually gets recognized as fingers, right? So if I put this to like 0.1, for example, then it will probably, it might recognize some of the firework as fingers. It's happened before. It's not really a nice view, not pleasant, but that's why I leave it at 0.5. That's the standard setting. And usually it works pretty well. This down here, you know, I guess you could maybe tweak a little bit, but I'm going to get into that in a second. There's also a second thing you can do about that. Alright, so the rest doesn't really matter. Cycle, I put this on 2 just so it goes over the image twice. Because sometimes it recognizes it only on the first try, or sorry, only on the second try, not on the first. Yeah, and feather is important for how good the FaceDetailer node actually integrates the stuff it generated into the old image. But here 5 is working pretty fine. You can just turn this up if you want. Yeah, how smooth the transition is from what it generated to the background. Alright, yeah, but for the case that stuff like this, right, the hand actually doesn't get recognized, I have up here the manual inpainting, sorry, little workflow where you have to here, yeah, this is still from earlier, right? You have to press right click on the image, open in mask editor, and then you have to put the opacity meter and the mask opacity all the way up. Mask blending options, you can stay with black, that's fine. And then you just have to paint over the stuff that you want to be regenerated, right? So last time I already did this, but you'd have to paint over the hand. The better you do it, the better it will be, right? I mean, you can always go a little bit around the edges too, but just like this. All right, let's say you have that. You got to click save. I'm not going to do that because I don't need this. I don't want to mess this up. But once you have that, it should look like this, right? This was an image where the fingers were messed up. And then we're going to need the, hold on, let me do this. You're going to need a mask to sags node, also from the impact pack. This is just a mask preview. This doesn't matter. It's just to see the spots it actually recognizes. And then you need the detailer SEGS. And then you plug in all the stuff. We're going to get, well, actually, I can tell you guys right now, right? The VAE from the model itself. The clip, I just drag that all the way over here. And the positive and negative prompt. And then all this stuff, we got seed, guide size. Yeah, I would turn all these on. This worked pretty well for me. And then once that works, it's going to be better, I guess. I can run it while we're here, and later on it's actually going to show us what happened. I already have this saved somewhere else, but whatever. Alright, now up here, these are just some extra prompts for the face detailers, sorry. So basically, because we only want the face detailer to actually work on the face, and it needs a prompt, it needs its own prompt, so that's why we have this stuff right here. This is the negative one, we change that right here. And this is the positive one, right? So it says like very detailed eyes, detailed pupils, smile, stuff like that. And yeah, I have these working for both workflows, right? Both the portrait and the landscape one. They have their own CFGs right here. This is this value. These two are for the hands. These are for the face. This is also CFG. Yeah. Now the most important part, I guess, which you'll have to download, which might also be a security risk. I'm not too worried about it because the website said it's safe and my PC also said it's safe. Windows security, right? But you're going to need the Ultralytics detector provider, also in the impact. Well, this one's in the impact Subpack. You can also find that right here. You're going to need this. And you're going to need the Bbox detectors. These are all downloadable on Hugging Face. I'm going to link them too. But yeah, these are pickle tensors. That's the file format, and they're like kind of unsafe in the sense that there could be code in there that you don't actually know about or you don't see, but that gets executed, and that could be a safety hazard, but I'm pretty sure it's safe. Nothing has happened. Nothing. It's not flagged as unsafe. Some other stuff on Hugging Face, that website where you download this stuff, is flagged, so I think it's fine. But yeah, they're pretty neat for refining the images, because as I showed you earlier, the face or the hands, sometimes they do need work, so it's pretty good. I'd recommend you guys use this. I'm not going to go into detail about the stuff up here because it's just literally the same. So yeah, that's it for the lower workflow. Right here are some screenshots I made that show some types of stuff, some options that you could do. For example, right here, you can code in faces by writing like this one, for example, I guess the P, it's like the tongue out. If you put that in the prompt, the character is going to do that. And yeah, these are the LoRa's that we're using, some of them at least. Yeah, you can look at this, it's pretty interesting. Alright, this is for multi-character. Alright. Alright, now what I forgot to mention is that for the prompt, I guess this is the most important part, right? I'm going to tell you guys a bit more about the positive prompt. This time on the one-person workflow, the lower one. So what you want to do is specify the amount of characters that are going to be in your scene. So because I'm only doing one character, it's going to be one girl, and one girl because it's going to be a woman, right? I'm generating an image of Acheron. You could do one boy here if you want to do something else, right? If you want to get a guy. Solo, and then the name of the character, and then this backslash parentheses Honkai Star. This is like the game or a series or anime or universe where your character is from, because sometimes the checkpoint you're using already knows who that character is without the LoRa. I'm pretty sure this WAI-illustrious checkpoint does know who Acheron is even without the LoRa. I'm pretty sure I tested that out, but yeah, doesn't hurt anyway to say this. Also, if you're using the LoRa, it doesn't hurt. Then some specifications about the character, right? Purple hair, long hair, hair ornament, and choker. Then I have looking at viewer, smile, standing, and cowboy shot. Cowboy shot just means that it's from the knees up. That's a specific term for out of the photography scene, right? Anyway, pardon my English, please. Alright, then I have Acheron again. Then I just describe her, what she's wearing, right? Long hair, short shorts, like tattoo, single knee boot, this stuff. And this is from the LoRa website directly. This is from CivitAI. The person who made the LoRa posted these trigger words for her outfit. That's why I just copied them in. And then we have some general information. Usually you'd put this at the top, but I just pasted everything in here from a different workflow, so that's why it looks like this. Doesn't matter, it works as well. The order is not that important. So yeah, some general stuff like masterpiece, best quality, newest, ultra detailed, stuff like that. Then some tags for some of the LoRa's. And Honkai Star Rail 1.2. Again, this, by the way, if you put a term in parentheses and do the colon and then a number, a float number, right? A decimal number like 1.2, 0.5, or 2.0, whatever. That's a multiplicator. Gosh, can't speak. So yeah, this amplifies it by 1.2, whatever is in the parentheses. Wide shot landscape orientation. That's because if I don't do that, these landscape pictures always turn out weird. It doesn't affect the portrait one though, that still works fine. Yeah, then I'm describing the background, right? Now you can do anything you want here, you could do whatever, but I thought this would be pretty beautiful. A lake in the background, nighttime. Background fireworks, colorful rainbow firework, a black hole, but that often messes up stuff, so that's why it's not in parentheses and it actually doesn't get recognized. It gets overshadowed by everything else. Shooting star, aurora borealis, that's you can't really see it, but those are like the green lights in the night sky sometimes. European castle. Yeah, and then I just put save for work and SFW because I don't want any NSFW stuff. Simple as that. So yeah, so much for that. Now I'm going to go to the upper workflow right here. With 2 characters, this is going to be way tougher. Alright, so here we are, the upper workflow for 2 characters. I'm going to try and do a speed run because I don't want to bore you guys too much. I'm going to skip all this stuff. Alright, these are the LoRas we already had. Now this is important here because it splits up. I got 1 LoRa for Acheron and 1 LoRa for Black Swan. They go into separate clip text encodes. We also have a positive clip text encode just like earlier, and a negative one, but be careful now because we actually have 3 separate clip text encodes for each character. So for example, this one still has lake, nighttime, and the firework, all that stuff. Then we have the one for Acheron. Now what's very important is that you write stuff like left side of image and left half of image. Because you only want her to be on that side of the image. And then I said stuff like next to Black Swan. The same goes for Black Swan. She also has the opposing stuff, so right side of image, right half, and yeah, she doesn't need the next to Acheron. It works fine without it, but you could also add that. Negative clip, same as ever. These are just some notes I have if I do different prompts, right? So I can save them in the workflow right here. It's perfect. Don't need an extra text file or anything. Just remember old stuff I have. It's pretty useful. You can also drag these bigger if you want. Yeah, these are just also notes for the outfit prompt. Because, for example, you could also generate an image where you write like wearing sweater and jeans. I've done that. Also works pretty fine. But then I don't have to remember all this stuff. Just copy and paste it back. Now, as I said, we have 3 positive prompts. Now, you might be thinking, well, I can only put 1 into the KSampler, right? So what do I do? Well, there are these conditioning nodes, set area with percentage, and you need 1 for each. So the positive node here that describes the background goes into the conditioning. This one down here is combined conditioning, where they all get combined. And then, here I'm going to explain this Acheron one, right? So I put width 0.51 just to have that little extra space where both of them meet, so it's a coherent image. Height 1.0. So this describes in percent basically how much of the image is for this prompt, right? So I want Acheron on the left half, that's why I only have 0.51 on the width. And the X and Y means the starting points. So since she's on the left, I'm going to go from 0, 0 to 0.51. That's what that basically means. And the height, or Y, doesn't matter. We want the full height scale of the image of that side to be of her, right? So just to show you guys, that means the left prompt basically goes from all this stuff to right about here, just a little bit more. So much for that. And the Black Swan part goes on the other half, right? So she has Also with 0.51, height 1.0, full height, half of the image, just a tiny bit more. But she starts at x 0.49. So that means her part of the image starts just right about here, as you can see. That also works perfectly fine. And this way they don't actually overlap or interfere with one another. Yeah. That's also why the upper workflow doesn't have a portrait workflow, sub-workflow, I guess, because you couldn't fit them in this tiny little space. It doesn't work. That looks really weird. It jangles everything up. So yeah, you put all these conditioning nodes into the combined conditioning, and then you put that into the KSampler. This stuff is all the same, just a note. And yeah, then you get an image, right? Now, obviously like this, for example, the hand is weird, the faces are mushed, it's all pixelated, it's not sharp. That's why we also have an upscale here. Now this one's actually a 2.0 upscale, not a 1.5. Don't ask me, it works. I don't know why. I'm happy because this has even more detail and basically doesn't need the following face detailers most of the time. But yeah, I still have them anyway. As you can see, this already looks very good. Alright, and then we have the stuff I already explained earlier, face detailer for the face, and just a little bit more. I'm going to go into that in a second, and the hand detailer here as well. Right, so here, now we have the same stuff, right? We have our normal, the background clip, and two separate prompts for Acheron's face and for Black Swan's face. Conditioning, again, I already told you guys about this. This is exactly the same, except that I have the strength at 0.5. I don't know. I guess it doesn't really matter. You can also do 1, I guess. Some notes, negative prompt. All the same stuff. Now, sadly, this doesn't really work 100% because Black Swan usually has yellow eyes. So I guess if your characters have different eye colors, this might be a problem. I haven't fixed this yet, but I don't think it's too annoying, so that's why I just left this. Should be alright. But yeah, there's just the face detailers, and then we have the hand detailers. Same stuff as before. Recognized her hand. This is good. She just had a little extra finger, so that's perfect. This hand it didn't recognize. Looks a bit weird, sadly. I guess you couldn't use this then. Or maybe I have to tweak with the settings, but yeah, that worked. Alright, so yeah, I was just here. The face detailer, the hand detailers, all this stuff. Yeah, same as before, and that's basically it, guys. Alright, the only thing I didn't show you guys yet because I forgot is where you actually put your downloaded stuff. So in my case, since I've had to reinstall ComfyUI a couple of times due to some weird bugs and crashes, this is the folder where I have it right now. Wherever you have it, you're gonna have to find that out. I guess in case maybe you have the ComfyUI folder and something else as well, you might want to paste the stuff you downloaded in both of them, but I'm going to show you guys where you can find all the folders you need. So we're going to go into the models folder right here where you have Comfy installed, and then for the face detailers, for the detectors, if you don't have this folder already, which you probably don't, you're going to want to create a folder called Ultralytics, all lowercase, and then you go into there, and then you make a folder called Bbox and SEGM, although I'm not using this, so I guess you wouldn't need this. And then go into Bbox and paste all of your face and hand detector files, the .pt, .pickle tensors, paste them right in here, and restart ComfyUI, and then you should find all of them. For the LoRa's, hold on. For the LoRa's, you're also going to go into models, and then we're going to go down here to Laura's, and then you can just paste them right here. I have some subfolders just to sort all of that stuff. And yeah, you can paste them right here. And for the checkpoint, you'd put them in the checkpoint folder. And yeah, that's that. I know it's a little bit longer, this video, because I tried to explain some stuff in detail, some stuff not so much. But you can probably just use any Laura you want of any anime character, and it should work perfectly fine. The reason why I did this video is because I had a lot of time struggling on how to actually do this, how to get this stuff working. For example, Upscale, I forgot about that. I didn't know, because these images, I mean, they're nice, but they're not perfect, right? I mean, okay, none of them are perfect, but once you upscale it, that's way better. And then once you have the Face-Detailer, that's very important. And then you also need the Hand-Detailer. Now here it kind of kind of messed up. It's not perfect, right? It doesn't always work, but here, for example, it did work perfectly fine. We got 5 fingers on both hands. They both got recognized. They have blue fingernails, and they are in the correct orientation. So this image is really nice. Now the only part I didn't talk about yet is, for curious people, the 4 times upscale. Now for this, yeah, I have this upscale model 4 times ultra sharp. I can also look for that and put that in the description as well, the link to download that. But yeah, we can just do that real quick. This actually scales the image you put in by 4. So since this is a 2K by 1K image, we're going to get a really, really big 8000 pixel times 4.68 pixel image. And I mean, just look at the details. I can't even really show you guys. Can't zoom in that far, but hold on 1 second. We can drag this a little bit bigger. Now just look at those details. I mean, come on. This is insane, guys. This is an AI generated image. I think it's absolutely nice, wonderful. Looks like a real hand painted image, I guess. Now, do keep in mind this takes up like 50 megabytes as a PNG, but you can just turn it into a JPEG, and then it's about like 8 or 10 megabytes, and that's perfectly fine. So yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you understood a lot, even though my English kind of sucks now. I haven't spoken English in a while, a couple of years actually, and yeah, I hope you can work with this workflow. I hope you understood it all. If not, you can comment. I'll read them. Don't worry, I'll respond, maybe make a new video. And yeah, have fun, guys.